Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Sorry, I had a big lag spike there. I don't know if we're live or not. Okay, hello everyone. I am Caitlin Penny, and I've come to save your broadcast last minute. This wasn't planned, so if I sound a bit caught off guard today, you'll know why. It's because up until about 2 or 3 minutes ago, I was not expecting to cover this broadcast. But anyway, we will have a race nonetheless. This is Super League Lights round 14 from Japan, from Suzuka, and it's wet. It is raining. I can see on the stream that the drivers are on intermediate tyres at best. Some of them are even on full wets, I can imagine. I'm just going to get up a race view so I can see whether that is the case or not. We've had an aborted start just as we had yesterday in the Super League Lights race. The Super League Lights had a very similar problem. It looks like the lighting gantry is just very reluctant to come on, and I don't know why that is, and I don't know if anyone knows why that is, but whatever the case, we restarted it yesterday, and then it worked the second time around, albeit after a long break. So anyway, the problem has occurred again, but at least we've had experience with it and we know how to sort it out, or at least I think we do. We are in a little warm-up session now. We've already done the official warm-up session, so I can't imagine this will last very long, and then we will head straight back for the formation lap. Apologies that I missed qualifying. I actually didn't see it at all, so I have no idea the story of it or anything like that. I can see that it's Yanni Simoncic on pole from Luke Maguire, I think, and then the rest of the field behind him. But yeah, I think you in the chat may actually know more about that than I do. But anyway, here we go. Here is the formation lap. I actually can't quite see the names yet because I am still lagging quite a bit. But when race view loads up for me, I will be able to talk you through the starting order a little, and let you know how they line up for this 14th round of the Super League Championship, and it's still not working. So I think there are some problems still potentially, but anyway, it looks as if it's going to be Yanni Simoncic on pole position, and he will be alongside Luke Maguire. So it's Simoncic and Maguire at the front row. Dennis Jordan third, Robin Panzer fourth, then it's Germano Zappala. Liam Duval, the Super League Lights champion, is P6. Sorry, what's that? No formation lap. Okay, so it sounds like we're going straight from... Well, it says there's a formation lap still. It sounds like we might be going straight from a standing start, which is rare. No formation. Okay, so it sounds like there isn't going to be a formation lap because that may be what's glitching out the lighting sequence. So I suppose... Oh yeah, there we go. Formation lap has been cancelled. So here come the lights, and when 5 red lights go off, we'll be underway at Suzuka for Super League. An unusual start, but off they go nonetheless. Yanni Simoncic gets away pretty well. Maguire's coming under attack from Jordan. Jordan around the outside into turn 1 on a damp part of the circuit. I mean, it's all damp, but still, Maguire managing to hold him off. So it's Simoncic, Maguire, Jordan, Panzer, and Zappala as they go up the hill. Apologies, I can only read out the top 6 in the starting order. There was no formation lap this time around, but anyway, up the hill they fly. And it looks to me as if everyone has got through relatively okay. I won't be able to tell you for sure though, because I actually don't have my game open. I'm watching this solely through Discord. As I said, a little bit of a last-minute broadcast today, but anyway, it is Yanni Simoncic leading in the Scuderia Basilia car, and up the hill past 230 he goes towards Spoon. Spoon curve, one of the toughest on the circuit, especially in wet conditions, because you have to steer well clear of that white line on the outside. Otherwise, it can just kind of spit you off, spin you around, anything it likes to do. And there's been a crash for Giuseppe Leno, and that's a big one actually. He's lost both his front wing and his rear, and one of his wheels as well. And that looks as if it may have been through 230. Yeah, oh goodness me. it was almost like an aquaplaning accident, and he's lucky that he didn't get collected by anyone there, or rather they're lucky that he didn't collect them, because so many other cars could have got involved in that. He spun straight back across the track, and maybe just a little bit too much power, and just not the right kind of setup for a condition like this, because the car just started to break away from him. Off it went, and that was a big hit into the barrier. The tire, one of the tires ended up on top of the tire wall in all of that, and that is our first retirement. No pun intended with retirement, but anyway. The Simracing continues to lead, but by less than a second from Luke Maguire. To make matters even worse, my timing screen is still not loading up, so we're having problems with that as well, and I could do without that on a day like today, but anyway. Simracing leads, Luke Maguire is second, then it's Jordan third, then it's Panzer, Zapala, Deval, Masculi, Raw, Buck, Winnick, Gobi, Moose, Kilk, Lucchini, Kearsmakers, and I can't read the name in 16th position because my screen is quite pixelated and laggy. I think below him in P17 is Daniel Brewer, then it's... I think I'm going to have to give up reading these names, it's too pixelated, I'm really sorry. But anyway, so you'll be able to see them better than I can. Vincent Gutt, that's it, Vincent Gutt. Giuseppe Ragusa, and then David Fidok are the top 20. And I can just look at the YouTube stream, jolly good. That is Alessandro Quinte, who's the 16th car that I couldn't read out. But anyway. So, towards the end of the second lap of the race, towards lap 3 out of 53, still a long way to go in this race, and anyone's game still. Of course, we will have a mandatory pit stop stage coming up later on today, where all the drivers will have to change that. Actually, it's not technically mandatory due to the fact that it is wet. Of course, you can technically stay on one set of wet tyres for the entire way through. It's not like in the dry where you have to use both compounds or two or more compounds of slick tyre. But anyway, I'm sure that everyone is going to make a pit stop anyway. The only track where I would be questioning that would be Monaco, but of course we're not racing at Monaco anymore, so that's pretty irrelevant. But anyway, that should be coming up later on in the race. DRS won't be enabled for a little while, I expect. I don't think that DRS is available at all when you're on intermediate tyres until it gets significantly drier than this. But still, you know, that 1 second buffer is important because that's where the maximum of the slipstreaming takes place, and if you're further down than that, you're going to really struggle to catch the car in front. Someone running very wide there was Lucchini. So Mirko Lucchini has dropped down out of the point scoring positions in the Green Stripes car down into P16, and that puts Alessandro Quinte up into P15 now, and Lucchini running wide again, and through goes Dan Brewer. So Lucchini struggling a bit in these conditions. I wonder whether he maybe doesn't quite have the setup for it or something like that. But anyway, he's been passed left, right and centre. I was going to say, I'm not actually sure that it is actively raining. It's still pretty damp on the track, still pretty slippery as Lucchini's demonstrating, but I don't see any raindrops actually coming down. I don't know if that's just me, but anyway, the rain does appear to be clearing off a little. The cloud's still quite dark though, so it could well begin to come down all over again, and that could really shake the race up once more. We're looking at Riot Kilk as he goes through turn 7, the Dunlop curve. He's currently in P12, and that is points, unlike it would be in, say, Formula 1, as the points go down to 15th position in this rather than 10th position. But anyway. Just a reminder, last time out at Sochi we had a really close race. Liam de Vries won it by just under a tenth of a second from Adam Maguire, although Maguire did gain a couple of points on his championship rivals with second place, as Maguire of course has not made many rounds of the season due to his Superleague Lights commitments. But anyway, Maguire now only 20 points behind Yannick Buck in the championship. They are first, and Quinte's had an incident on the road. He's run into, I think he's come together with the Green Stripes car. So Quinte appeared to have a little loss of control through the hairpin. Indeed, he did. Yep, just spun up the rear tyres, and there we go. The Green Stripes car of Lucchini just couldn't avoid him. I think Lucchini's also lost his front wing there. Yes, he has. He's run wide. So I'm afraid both of them are going to have to make a pit stop after that one, and that elevates Dan Brewer into the points paying positions in P15, as both of these drivers, except for Lucchini, were point scoring drivers, and Lucchini was only just outside of those positions. But anyway, as I was saying, in terms of the championship, Buck is first, followed by Maguire, then Simoncic, Jordan, Kilk, Winnick, and Roar as they stand. But the championship is still wide open. We have this race plus two more. Every race is worth a maximum of 25 points, and there are only 20 between the winners. So actually, it's a lot closer than it could be, especially if something goes wrong to Yannick Buck, and he hasn't been having the greatest of races so far. He's down in 9th position as his rival Adam Maguire is up in 2nd. So that's going to be points gained for Maguire if it is to continue like this. But this is tricky conditions, and anything could change really. Realistically, it's really not over until it's over. But anyway, I think there's just been a change for 11th place. I think Kilk just passed Gobi and all of that. But anyway, yeah, indeed, it was up into, I think it was out of Spoon. So Kilk getting one place closer to that top 10. Of course, even though points go down to P15, everyone wants to get into the top 10 because it just sounds so much nicer, you know, being in single digits especially. You know, I finished 9th, just sounds so much better than I finished, you know, 11th. Even though there's not that much in it in terms of points, there is something. But anyway, Nick Maguire has been keeping within a second of Simoncic for the entire race so far. I don't think that gap has extended at all since the very start. So that fight is still very much on. Dennis Jordan right there with them. The top three separated by pretty much nothing. It's just over a second, which really isn't that much at all. And Maguire would, I expect Maguire would be wishing it's wishing it's dry right now, because that would give him slipstream and a realistic chance of passing Yoni Simoncic. But Suzuka is a difficult track to overtake at the best of times, and in the wet where there's only really one line, it's even tougher. Dennis Jordan taking a look there on Luke Maguire, getting really close but didn't go for the Vettel Verstappen type dive, and wisely so. He's actually going to lose time out of all of that because he hasn't got a good exit to that corner, and Maguire somehow has avoided getting hugely distracted by Jordan, and has kept it in that second position there. Good driving from Maguire, and also good from Jordan not to send it and take them both out of the race. But anyway. Dennis Jordan, one of the drivers racing for Evolution Motorsports, and they could very well still win the team's championship. They're only 4 points behind Adonis Engineering. It is extremely close for the lead of the team's championship here. Of course, Jordan and I'm pretty sure it's Jordan and Buck who are the Evolution drivers. And I think Adam Maguire's an Adonis driver. I'm not entirely sure who the other one is, because as I said, I haven't done my research for today. I only knew that I was commentating 2 minutes before the race started. But anyway. Whatever the case, it is extremely close for the constructors or teams championship lead, and then following those top two, they are Scuderia Basilia, Edge Esports, and Red Archer Virtual Racing Team, making out the top 5. In this race, it's Simoncic leading from Maguire, Jordan, Hansa, Zappala, Deval, Maschili, Royal, Block, and Winnick, the top 10 in the early stages. Right, Kilt getting pretty close to winning actually. Possibly going to jump into the top 10 before long. Adam Maguire there, we're watching with Simracing weaving slightly down the straight, trying to break the toe. That's fair enough. He's got enough of a gap for that not to be considered blocking. And look there, you've got a dry line forming. So yeah, you can definitely see there's a dry line forming on the circuit. It hasn't rained in a while, and the cars are just clearing the water off the line where they race. And that makes me wonder, maybe how long is it going to be before someone switches to slicks? Now watch Maguire taking it to the inside. Doesn't keep it there into turn 1. And Simracing did a great job to just stick his car exactly where Maguire wanted to go on the racing line down to turn 1, but enough over to the left that really there wasn't much of an overtaking opportunity for Maguire. That was absolutely brilliant defense from Gerrit Simracing, as we would expect from him. And why are we looking at Vincent Gut? Something just happened to him potentially. I think we're seeing a replay, and yeah, he's run wide. So Gut there losing a couple of places, down into P18 behind David Feidock. So lap 8 out of 53, still very early stage in the race, and the leaders there were separated by 0.3 of a second through the last gap. That is pretty much nothing. The top 3 separated by just 0.6 of a second. This is a fantastic start to the race. Really, really tense, and I am expecting this to go right up until the pit stages, maybe even later on. We're getting closer still in the slipstream. He's got another chance here as they head out towards the straight. Here we go then. I'm not sure he's quite as close as he was a lap ago. Getting a lot of water kicked up in his face. The slipstream not quite as effective in the wet as it would be in the dry. And not only because you don't have DRS. I think there's also just been a move further down the order. Was that, yeah, Kismix and Brewer side by side. Oh, and Gobby dropping down the order maybe? Yes, Gobby's dropping, so there's something that's happened to Fabrizio Gobby. And he's lost his front wing. Oh, that's a shame. Now, Gobby was fighting for, I think, 11th place. He was a little behind that, maybe, 12th or 13th. They went 3 wide into turn 1. Oh, and he got touched from behind by Dan Brewer. And went heavily into the barrier. Lost his front wing. Yeah, that was contact from behind from Brewer, and I expect the stewards might be taking a look at that after the race. But anyway, Gobby having to make a pit stop for that, and the driver who picked up his first Superleague victory, I think, in Montreal earlier this year, if I remember correctly, is now a long way out of the points. That puts Giuseppe Ragusa up into the final points paying position as it stands. Down the straight they go towards 130R, very, very daunting corner, especially when wet. Maguire right on the tail of Gerrit Simracing, took a little look again, but not quite there. Through the final corner they go. And the top 3 separated by as near as makes no difference, nothing at all. Dennis Jordan catching Maguire now goes to the inside while he took a quick look. A little peck at him there. And this is the kind of race that I like. The kind that builds up tension. I don't like it when people talk about overtakes, because if you get a race like that where it's too easy to pass the car in front, and you get, billions of overtakes every lap, it really doesn't provide a very exciting race. Actually, it provides quite a standard one where that the faster cars are always going to win because they're going to be able to get past their opponents easily. Races like this build up tension, and it's tension that is the best kind of drama. Think about, for example, Imola 2006. I'm not sure there was a single overtake in that race, and yet it's remembered as a classic for the Schumacher-Alonso battle. Monaco 92, Senna versus Mansell. Monaco 2018, you could say as well, with Ricciardo versus Vettel. although that one not considered quite so much a classic, but you get my point. Tension is the greatest form of excitement, as in the background there. Robin Panzer there, 5th place behind Zapala. So Zapala's just got past him actually, that's a change of position there for 4th place. And I didn't quite see how that happened. It happened in the background, I think, coming out of Spoon. But that puts Germano Zapala up into 4th position. Yeah, indeed, it was down the straight heading up towards 130R, so he must have got a good run out to Spoon. Oh, someone making a move in the background there. It's a red car being passed around the outside, I think. Again, sorry, I can't be more descriptive. I don't have my game open. It would take me far too long for that to happen. But anyway, looking at Matthias Moose, he's dropped a couple of positions since last time I saw him. I think, anyway. Dan Brewer, P12 at present. Oh, and he spins! Dan Brewer spins it round. Right as we were watching him goes through the gravel. Gearsmakers takes 12th. Matthias Moose, goes onto the grass. And takes 13th and all of that. And Dennis Jordan's had a spin as well. So Dennis Jordan, one of the Evolution Motorsports cars, has had a spin in exactly the same place. Dunlop curve is appearing very, very slippery at this point in time. And Dennis Jordan, 4th in the championship, has just looped it around and dropped down to 11th position. So that puts Wright Kilk into the top 10 now. And a shame for Jordan that he has recovered in 11th anyway. So the drivers need to be careful of that corner. Dunlop curve is slippery. Now is the dry line disappearing again? I wonder whether it's maybe started to rain again, because it doesn't look... The track doesn't look as dry as it did a few minutes ago. It certainly doesn't look as if the dry line is there anymore. And I wonder whether that's why... Oh, and loads of people going wide at 130R there. Yeah, it's raining again, so it does appear to be getting slipperier. And is it verging on full wet conditions soon, maybe? It's certainly appearing very slippery through Dunlop and 130R. And if Dennis Jordan, a driver who has won 2 Grand Prix already this season, can be caught out, then I'm sure that anyone can. In terms of Super League Grand Prix winners this season, we've had, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7 different names. Yannick Bock, of course, has won 3, and he leads the championship. Hasn't won since Silverstone though, so we'll be hoping for another one soon. As we watch a replay of, I think, is this going to be a spin for Stefan Rohr maybe? Up through Dunlop again. Yes, indeed, gets on the curb and the grass, spins twice around. Oh my goodness! And someone in the background there had to take real avoiding action. I think that was Dennis Jordan actually, to avoid getting involved in that one. Really good evasive action from Jordan, but a big spin from Rohr. Rohr, not one of our other winners. Adam Maguire, of course, has won 3 races, but he hasn't won since Baku. Despite fighting for the championship. Yanni Simoncic has been gaining ground recently, two recent or relatively recent victories, Germany and Italy, as Gears makers their fights with Rohr. Also, Dennis Jordan picking up momentum recently as well. 2 wins in Belgium and Singapore, even though he's had dodgy rounds at Italy and Russia. And then the other winners of the series, Fabrizio Gobi won at Montreal, Liam Duval won last time out at Sochi, and of course Fabio Sixter won the second race, which is at Bahrain. But Sixter actually hasn't finished the last 5 races, so not a good campaign recently for Fabio. And I don't think he's even in this race, I'm afraid. But anyway. So, Simoncic on course for what would be his 3rd Grand Prix victory of the season, but he's less than a 10th of a second ahead of Luke Maguire, or Adam Maguire, sorry. I keep saying Luke, but it's Adam. Luke, of course, being his brother, who I'm used to commentating on in Super League Lights. But anyway, Adam. Oh, and Fabrizio Gobi's been off again. And I think that may be it, because his engine's smoking, and he's been off at Spoon. Oh, it looks as if his engine actually blew before he went off, so his engine was already blown. and stopped it by the side of the circuit, then pulled off to such an extent that his front wing came off. That's weird. But anyway, Fabrizio Gobi is out of the race, and that is a shame. One of our Grand Prix winners from this season so far, 9th in the championship, is already out of this race. The highest driver in the championship yet to score a victory is Riot Kilk. He is currently running 9th in this race, so not looking on course for one today. But he's 5th in the championship after 2 podiums, and a consistent season from Kilk, probably his best yet. And I think we've just had another change. Oh, yeah, Jordan's got past Kilk. So as I was talking about Kilk, they have swapped places. So Dennis Jordan up into 9th place, and that seems to have happened down the straight. Jordan with a slipstream maneuver up the inside into turn 1, and through he went. Nicely done from Dennis Jordan. And Kilk now down to 10th. And has to contend with even more spray than he was having kicked in his face before. Also, now who's dropped back from 3rd place? Something's happened, I think. Oh, of course, yeah, sorry. Jordan was in 3rd at first, and then of course he had his spin. Yeah, no, my apology. Again, not really in it so much today. It was a very last minute call up for me to be doing this job, but anyway, I am doing my best. So Germano Zappala is now in 3rd place, and he is actually under attack from Robin Panzer. They're getting a lot closer. Actually, Liam Duval and Aras Masciuli are only just behind them as well. So at the head of the order, it's still all to play for, and another change there. Matteo Kiersmaker's side by side with Dan Brewer in the background. And Brewer's into the wall. Brewer losing his front and rear, and that will be his race over, I'm almost certain. Indeed, he's out. So Daniel Brewer from within the points paying positions went to the left hand side, and I think they touched on corner entry. But we'll soon see. Here they go through the Casio triangle, and there's the first touch, and then Brewer. It just seems to become too much of a handful mid-corner for Brewer. There was a slight touch, but I'm not actually sure that's what made Brewer spin. I think it was just his eagerness to get on the throttle and into the wall. He went race over. So that puts David Vidok into the points paying positions, P15, the double champion. Not having a great season. He's been a little bit struggling with pace the last couple of years, although still picking up points when he can. 20th in the championship and 15th in this race as we stand. Now we're looking back at the leaders. Simoncic and Maguire still very, very close. And I think that is the first time in this race actually that we've seen the gap go over a second. I've been watching it intently, and now it's registering as 1.057, I think. And yeah, indeed, that's probably, despite the fact this is still a very close race, that's probably the biggest gap we've seen between the pair of them all day. Maybe Maguire biding his time a little before the pit stop stages. On a slide and a spin, and that's Panzer. Robin Panzer goes around from 4th position. He was chasing Zappala down, and has looped it in turn 1. He didn't get on the curb or anything, he just lost it. Well, it shows you how slippery these conditions are. Round he went, and he's dropped down to P9 in all of that, I'm afraid. And just managed to fend off Riot Kilk for P10. So Robin Panzer is P9. That puts Liam Duval up into P4. Aras Masciuli up into P5 as we stand. The leaders now back down to within a second of each other, so the fight's still very much not over yet. But yeah. Just watching a replay of that on the YouTube stream. Waiting for the Fs to start appearing in chat. as people see that. But anyway, so 19 drivers remaining in this race. I honestly don't know how many started it, but 19 are remaining now, and you can see their order on the left-hand side of your screen. Tambura, the most recent retirement in all of that. I think Lakini's maybe just had another. Oh, sorry, Quinte I think has just had an incident because he has dropped down to the back of the order, and further away from the point scoring positions. Giuseppe Ragusa there, ducking into the pit lane, locking up slightly on the way in, but that's okay. Gets it slowed in time, and he's going to be heading towards his pit box. I do expect that everyone will be making a pit stop today. It's not technically mandatory due to the wet conditions, although realistically you will still be seeing everyone making those stops, and it's going to be another set of inters for Ragusa, so not for wets yet, and certainly not slick weather. I wouldn't be surprised to see people gambling for full wets though. It's clearly still raining, and the conditions are tricky, so it would make sense to see some people go onto full wets, especially people further down in the order who could benefit potentially from taking a bit of a risk and doing something slightly different. But anyway, Dennis Jordan catching up to Yannick Bock. Bock really not dealing well with these conditions so far. You'd expect him to be doing a lot better than this. No disrespect to him, he's one of the fastest drivers on the grid, the reigning Super League champion, but not really his day. Maybe it's the circuit, maybe it's the conditions, maybe it's the setup. Whatever the case, 6th position, and would have been hoping for a lot better than that. He is ahead of Dennis Jordan, but anyway, I think. No, never mind. I was gonna say something else, but it was completely wrong. Lauren Kiersmaker's coming in for a stop. That was from 12th position, and he does go into full wets, so that's interesting. First driver I think we've seen on the full wet tyre, certainly first in the points paying positions. I think he's going to just about drop out of the points paying positions depending on where Ragusa is. He might just keep it actually. There's Ragusa, and Ragusa goes through, so Kiersmaker's temporarily drops out of the top 15, but he will definitely, or almost certainly, be back into them again. Kiersmaker is one of the most experienced drivers on the grid. Was racing in Super League as long ago as 2005, and winning races as long ago as then as well. It's crazy to think that this league has been going on for this long, but Kiersmaker's has been, and he knows it better than most people, and it's fantastic to see him still going. And of course his brother Matteo Kiersmaker is getting involved in Super League Lights as well. Lap 19 of the race now, sorry, lap 20 more like, as that means 19 laps completed, I think. And sorry, no, it is lap 19 of the race, and Simracing still leads from Maguire. Zapala still third, but it's still so close between Simracing and Maguire, and Zapala and de Waal. Currently on board with Maguire, actually watching how a Super League Grand Prix winner does the Suzuka circuit. There are the two Degners. Still using quite a bit of the curb despite the damp conditions. It's the fastest line around that corner if you can keep control. But Degners are a daunting sequence of corners at the best of times, let alone when the track is greasy. Through 230R and up towards Spoon again. Spray kicking up into Maguire's face all the while. This is a difficult acceleration zone. You're turning and accelerating at the same time, and it can often make the wheels spin up a little in conditions like this. through 130R, one of the fastest corners. It's flat out in the dry. Not sure if it is in the wet, but Maguire goes through it cleanly, and then exits the Casio triangle to come across the line to start another lap of the race. Turn 1 is probably the most difficult corner on the track, in my opinion. It's double apexed, it's long, it's fast, and you never quite know whether you're going to have a big accident or nail it, or somewhere in between. Cross your fingers and hope as you're entering it. Can be an overtaking opportunity if you can get far enough alongside your opponent, especially since there's a long straight preceding it. But anyway, here are the S's. Recently, there have been many copycat clones of this sequence of corners popping up around the world, but these are the original. And then you head up through the Dunlop curve towards the Degners, like so. And then you do another lap of the circuit. Vincent Gutt just exiting the pits, doing a decent job. Still a good chance of points for Vincent. He was running 14th before he came in. Should probably be 15th because of Keersmaker's stop already, and he's going to come out behind Keersmaker's as he does. Here's Eros Masculi running in 5th position as it stands. Yannick Buck actually catching him quite quickly in the background there. Yannick still a contender for the top 5 positions. Into 130R flies Eros Masculi again. And the Casio triangle, and he goes wide and he has to cut straight across it. Well, he won't get a penalty for that unless he does it too many times, or gain significant advantage out of it, but yeah, that was a little mistake there from Eros Masculi. Liam de Vries now right on the tail of Germano Zappala. This is the fight for 3rd position in the order, and de Vries, the already crowned Super League Lights champion from this year, is hoping to go one better and win the Super League Championship next year. Of course, he has to get a victory first. He oh wait, no, he does have a victory. He scored his maiden Super League win last time out at Sochi. Of course, prior to that, he's had podiums galore. Actually, only 3 podiums before that. 2, so one at Belgium, one at Italy this year, and then one back in Australia 2018, that legendary fight he had with Geoffrey Fournier. He's been very close to the podium on plenty of occasions before, but yeah, last time out at Sochi was his very first victory in Super League. In fact, it was quite a day for, or quite a week for firsts, as Colin Spork, another Cenobite driver incidentally, also claimed his first Super League Lights victory the day before. So I'm sure the Cenobite team celebrated together that week. And this week, Liam de Vries on for 4th place at least, it seems, unless he can get past Germano Zappala, who is only just in front of him. And de Vries, a different line through turn 1, but he's close, relatively close, and still the chance may present itself. Stefan Rohr just exiting the pit stop. He's going to be just outside of the top 10. Interestingly though, I'm pretty sure this is going to be Germano Zappala's first podium if he can hold on to it. I just want to go and check his results quickly, because Germano Zappala is quick, but I don't think he's ever had a significant result before. I say significant. Points in Super League in the first place aren't bad, and he has plenty of those. 13 points finishes in total in Super League, with a best result of 6th place at last year's Italian Grand Prix. But since then, he hasn't achieved anything higher. Still no top 5 finish, let alone a podium. So this is a great drive from Superleague in the wet. Although I'm talking way too soon to suggest that he's got the podium in the bag. Liam de Vries still right behind him, hot on his heels. And fighting fast. Here we go down the straight again, 30 laps to go this time around. Taking a big look up the inside, but from a long way back. Looks as if Superleague had the upper hand on the straight there. He seemed to be pulling away, even when de Vries was in his slipstream. Up through the S's, a little glance back at the rear wing of Liam de Vries' car, the Adonis Engineering. Into Dunlop curve. Slippery when wet they should put a sign up there that says that. That's the place, I think, where Martin Brundle hit the Marshall in '94. Also in the wet. Andrea Montermini had a big crash there as well. But anyway. Robin Panzer missing his rear wing, I'm afraid. And he was running in 9th position, I think. Just lost it coming through Dunlop. Managed to gather it back up again, though. It came back under control. And then he lost it again in the Degners. So really, really slippery. And there went his rear wing. And now, oh, he hits the wall again. And I think that's going to be his race over. I was saying yesterday in the Superleague Lights, if you lose your rear wing earlier in the lap than, say just a couple of corners before the end or whatever, realistically your race is over. And there we go, Panzer goes back to the pits. Because actually getting back to the pits with that unbalanced downforce is so difficult. It's actually not worth it. You probably just end up getting penalties and getting yourself frustrated, and you don't end up scoring any points in the end anyway. So that, I'm afraid, is it for Robin Panzer. Dennis Jordan's in the pits, meanwhile. And the Evolution driver who spun out of a 3rd place earlier on boots it and gets going again. Back onto the road. Dennis Jordan, as I said, already 2 victories this season. He was close to winning the championship last year, although had to concede it to his teammate Yannick Buck to avoid it being snatched off of them by Alex Siebel. But Jordan has 6 Super League wins to his name. His first was at the 2018 Italian Grand Prix. Then he won 3 in 2019, including the legendary Monaco, and then 2 so far in 2020. May still bag a 3rd. That was Dennis Jordan anyway. Not sure whether it's the wet conditions that are unsettling him. And actually, last year he was second in the championship overall, behind his teammate Yannick Buck, of course. Aside from Super League, Dennis Jordan also has experience in Super Cup and the Atlantic Series. Not quite the same success in that. He's really come of age since going into Super League proper, and very much deserves it the way that he's been pushing for it. Look at Liam de Vries now, still on the back of Superleague. Still all over the tail of him. Still going for that 3rd position in the Adonis Engineering car. So here's one of the Adonis Engineering cars. With the other Adonis car being Adam Maguire, currently in 2nd place. And that means that I'm pretty sure Adonis Engineering have the highest placed driver pairing in this order. Close between them and my apologies. Probably would have been a lot closer between them and Evolution if it hadn't been for Dennis Jordan's spin. But it is what it is. We're approaching the halfway stage of this race now. And surely these drivers' pit strategies are going to start to pick up any second now. Jenny Simoncic through the final corner, stays out. And Adam Maguire comes in, so he's one of the first front runners to make a stop. And when he stops in his box, we'll see whether he elects to stay on inters or go onto the full wets. I'm not sure it's raining anymore, actually. I don't see anything. Yeah, I think the rain stopped, actually. A few drops, but it's very light, according to Gerrit de Vries, my cameraman. Actually, quick shout out to Gerrit de Vries. This was a difficult stream to get started, especially with the problems of not knowing who was going to commentate and things like that. So thank you for getting that set up so well and actually giving us a broadcast today. But anyway, it's still going on. I think Masculi's having an incident because he's just dropped a couple of places, and I don't think he came into the pits in all of that. Oh, he did come into the pits, my apologies. So Masculi in the pits right now, actually. And coming out just ahead. Oh wait, never mind, that was a replay. My apologies. Came out just ahead of Yannick Buck, who was also in the pits that time around. So that's how those two stand. So, halfway through the race now, it's Simoncic, followed by Winnick, Taval, Maguire, Zapala, Jordan, Moose, Masculi, Buck, and Raw, with a lot of those drivers still yet to stop. And the order still yet to be shaken and stirred a little more before the end of the race. So matching Winnick now into the pits. He saw what Zapala and Masculi and Buck did, and wants to get in on the action himself. So in he goes. Liam Duval goes in from behind him. Little bit of a pit stop race, but there was quite a bit between them. And out goes the Edge car, and then out goes Liam Duval as well behind him. Yannick Buck now right on the tail of Eris Masculi there, P6 and P7. It is Moose into the pits as we talk. 13th place. And it really is human nature to drive these cars as quickly as you possibly can. But you need to be careful in conditions like this. Often that's not the way to do it. The quickest way you possibly could be would be taking a risk that works over the curbs or the grass or something like that. And in the wet, it becomes even more riskier than, or even riskier rather, the more is redundant. But it becomes even riskier than when it's done in the dry. But yeah. So, Yanni Simoncic extending his lead, still yet to make a stop. I do like the way the green tyres interact with his helmet and a monocoque. But anyway, I also like the way he's driving because he's leading the race by quite a considerable margin. And yes, he hasn't stopped yet, but still, I think he's going to come out with still quite a good gap to the cars behind, keeping him well and truly in that first position. What was that, sorry? Okay, well, I'm getting some kind of news from my cameraman here at Free, so it's very difficult to hear because there's a little bit of roboting. Sorry about that, Garrett. But anyway. 18 cars remaining in this race, 16 of those on the lead lap. 2 of those have been lapped now. the real battles, Zapala versus Jordan, still extremely close. Winnick versus... And into the pits comes Yerny Simoncic from the lead of the race. So Simoncic pits. What tyres does he go onto? Apparently a pit stop takes 24 seconds, according to Garrett. Which sounds about right, because that is the pit stop itself, plus the time down the pits, and the time you lose on the limiter, and things like that. So, Adam Maguire temporarily takes the lead of the race. And actually, has he jumped Simoncic? Yeah, because Maguire's pitted, hasn't he? So he's jumped Simoncic there. Wow. Apologies for not noticing that sooner. I'm a little bit tired right now, but Maguire has taken the lead of the race, I think probably effectively, from Yerny Simoncic there. Fantastic. Not sure quite where he gained so much time, but there's actually quite a gap between them now. 5 point something seconds, I think. No, sorry, it's 1 point something seconds. Again, my screen's very pixelated, so it's difficult to see. But yeah, that's definitely a that's a big big gain from Luke Maguire. Sorry, Adam Maguire, and he could be well on his way to scoring his fourth victory of the season at this rate. We'll have to see. So, round the kink towards Spoon, being developed. Little way ahead of Riot Kilk, just behind Stefan Rowe. He's in a little bit of a sandwich there, but anyway. Down the straight they go, and Maguire has a drive-through for pit speed limit, pit speeding. So Luke Maguire, who was on course to lead the race, has ducked into the pits, and that's because he has a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that is dramatic. That may be why he took the lead, but that's going to cost him a lot of time and a lot of places. He's down into 5th place. And the driver who looked set to gain so many points in the championship is now going to be losing points to Jordan, Winnick, Zapala, Simoncic. What a mistake from Adam Maguire. And thank you to race director Chris Williamson for giving me a heads up on that. But yeah, that puts Simoncic straight back into the race, right after I said that Maguire may well be able to win this. Yerny Simoncic has got it right back under control again. Zapala second, Jordan third, then it's Winnick, Maguire, and then Masciuli, but anyway. The rain has also temporarily stopped, but likely not for long. Sorry for hitting my table again. That was an update from Chris Williamson, that. But anyway. So, lap 30 of the race now. We're getting towards, well, we're past the midway stage of the race. We're getting towards the latter stages. Not quite the late stages yet. Still got over 20 laps to go, and around Suzuka that's a little while. But it's late enough. The drivers start getting concerned and maybe a little bit restless. But for the time being, Simoncic still leads by less than, is that less than a second over? No, sorry, it's a little while over Zapala. Oh, that says 8. Okay, sorry. Oh, that says 13. Okay, sorry. I'm struggling to keep. Again, my timing screen is very, very pixelated. It's difficult to keep up with, but anyway. Zapala and Jordan still fighting over that second and third position. So, through the Degners flies Dennis Jordan. He is going to be gaining points on his championship rivals here. Yannick Buck hasn't had the best of races. He's still down in 7th. Adam Maguire had that pit speed limiting penalty. Pit speeding penalty. He's down in 4th place. Yerny Simoncic is leading, so Jordan's not going to gain on him. But anyway, Simracing still has an outside shot of the championship here. Not a particularly realistic one, but it's an outside shot of that title. But it depends what he does today. He needs to score, I think, 7 more points than Buck to keep those hopes alive. And at this stage, I think he's probably doing that actually. So we may go into the final 2 rounds of the championship with a 3-way battle for the Super League Championship. So, a little bit of a lag spike, but it's okay. We're watching Andrew Waring as he hunts down Michal Maciarek. Sorry, Maciel Wynick. Maciarek's not even in this league. Goodness me, I don't know what I'm talking about now. Yeah, you can tell that I'm tired. I just said that, and Gerrit in the background said, "What? Like, what are you on about?" Yeah, I have no idea anymore. But anyway, sorry. Maciej Wynick, different Polish racing driver. Whatever the case, he is running in 4th position. Maguire reeling him in. And I should really have brought a drink with me to try to keep myself awake. But anyway. So, Simracing, Zapala, Jordan, Wynick, Maguire, Askili, Buck, Deval, Kilk, and Ruhr, the top 10. Vries trying to break into the top 10, and we're on board with Maguire as he goes to the inside of Wynick. And goes through into 130R. That's a brave, very, very fast move. High speed into that. We've seen it done before, but it's impressive every time, and Adam Maguire's just made it stick again. Very well done from Adam Maguire. And that will be more points towards his championship challenge. So Maguire will definitely be scoring more points than Buck here. And Ruhr's in the pits again. Is that his second stop, or have I missed his first potentially? I think that's his second stop. Also, I've noticed a dry lines forming again on the circuit. Tends to happen relatively quickly, and it only tends to... And it's starting to rain again, apparently. That's interesting. You can never quite tell what the weather's going to do, especially at Suzuka. And today it's been a little up and down the entire way through, but 20 laps to go. So we'll see who can judge it correctly, I suppose. Into Spoon Curve. Zapala and Jordan fighting over P2 now. Jordan catching. And this is effectively over P2 now. Although they do have Adam Maguire right there for company as well. Adam Maguire now within 2 seconds of them. This could be a very tense finish, actually. With Zapala, Jordan and Maguire fighting over 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Zapala still doing an excellent job. Still on his way to what looks like his first GPVWC Super League podium, but he will need to hold off at least one of these charging contenders if he's going to score a podium. Providing nothing happens to Simracing, but anyway. 19 laps to go in this race. It's ticking down slower than Zapala would like. He'll be just watching the laps ticking down, watching the timer, thinking, "Hurry up!" You know, where's the checkered flag? It always feels longer when you're in a situation like his, when you're having to defend and fight for your position, for all that you're worth. But Zapala handling the pressure very, very nicely today. Looking back at him, or looking back from his car to Dennis Jordan's behind. Up the hill in the DRS. Oh, sorry, not the DRS. The slipstream is Jordan. Still no DRS available. I don't think there will be today, unless the track gets considerably drier considerably quickly. Towards the final corner now. How much for slipstream can Jordan get this time around? How close can he get to the back of Zapala's car? He's approaching, but not fast enough, I'd say. There we go into turn 1. About 0.4 of a second was the gap that last time around. So yeah, it's still not quite there between the two of them. And Jordan is continuing. Zapala is continuing, rather, to hold that second position. Adam Maguire also improving. He's been one of the real standout performances of this season. He'd raced in GPVWC before, but hadn't really achieved anything quite this big. Hadn't really fought for any podiums or race wins or whatever. In fact, despite making his Superleague debut back in 2016, his first podium came at the first round of this year with a win at the Australian Grand Prix, and then he got 2 more wins at Turkey and Azerbaijan. Plenty of podiums as well. Had to miss a round at Singapore, which could affect his championship challenge. Of course, his rival Buck has not had to miss a round. Their other rival Simracing has. He missed France for whatever reason. But that does mean that it's tougher for those drivers to benefit and to win the championship, and slightly easier for Buck, but let's face it, he still very much has to fight for it. As I was saying about Adam Maguire, though, came pretty much out of nowhere. He did have 1 podium in the World Sports Series back in 2016, a second in race 2 at Belgium, but that was pretty much all we'd seen of him. And he actually didn't race at all in Superleague last year, or in GPVWC last year. Came back for 2020, and immediately started, I suppose you could say, thrashing the competition, because even though he's not in front now, he was leading by quite a considerable margin earlier on in the year. And he's still continuing to launch that championship challenge. Just try to win that crown, make that pass on. Well, Jordan's got past him since. No, wait, never mind. Yeah, Jordan was already ahead of him. Sorry. Yeah, you can tell I didn't sleep very well last night, can't you? Anyway, down the back straight again they head towards 130R. Not normally an opportunity unless someone gets a little squirrely out of spoon and lose a bit of momentum that way. Zapala, Jordan, Maguire, Winnick also catching a little as well. Maybe we'll feel that he can get involved in this. The gap for the lead is 18. Where is that 50? Again, I'm having real problems with the graphics, but anyway, the gap's big, put it that way, for the lead of the race. And Simracing will be reveling in this breathing room. It really helps you when you're in a situation like that to not have a car, breathing down the back of your neck, threatening to pass you or take you off at any corner. Zapala there, still P2. Lauren Kearsmakers has just been into the pits. He's still in there now, just about to exit, I think. But yeah, the race for second continues. Lauren Kearsmakers exiting the pits, putting the power down, taking the pit speed limiter off. It's a relatively short pit lane here compared to some other tracks. It costs you 24 seconds as opposed to maybe the 25 to 30 seconds you might get at some other venues. that's partly because pit entry it's right on the inside of the final corner, so naturally the path is going to be slightly shorter, and also it cuts off midway down the start-finish straight rather than going through turn one like it might at some tracks. But anyway, you still don't want to be coming in too many times, at least more times than you've scheduled. Yesterday in Super League Lights, the winner did a one-stop strategy, and I'm very much expecting that to be the strategy for today as well. 15 laps to go in this Super League race. Round 14. There are just 2 rounds after this, of course, which are Circuit of the Americas and then Autódromo Jose Carlos Pata. If you want to get involved in GPVWC yourself, it's relatively easy. You just need to go to the site, sign up, and I would recommend starting with the Academy Series, because you will always find a seat in the Academy Series, just so long as you sign up early enough. And the seats in categories above that are very, very saturated. It's so tough to actually find a team that has a space. So really, you've got to prove yourself in Formula Challenge first, then move up. But we do also have a nice little community. If driving's not your thing, you could get into race directing, or commentary, or camera work, or even you could even be a team member for one of these teams. You know, working on development points or setups, or something along those lines. But anyway, yeah, just head over to the GPVWC website. There are 2 GPVWC websites actually. I think either works. I only know how to sign up on the older one, but anyway, I'm sure there is a way to do it. But whatever. So the track not getting significantly wetter. It did seem to start raining again briefly, but and it's just stopped again apparently. So yeah, the rain very fickle today. Not entirely sure what it's doing with itself. It can be like that sometimes. At least the skies have stayed dark, so you know there's still a threat of rain. Those clouds looking very, very gloomy. I remember one race I had a really, really long time ago where it started raining with a completely clear blue sky, and I just made a stop for slick tyres. And that's about the worst feeling. So it's good to see the sky still stayed grey, just to warn the drivers. You know, there could still be more. Yeah, could still be more coming. But anyway, Dennis Jordan's still very close to Zapala. Did get it a little wrong through the Cassia Triangle that time around. But yeah, he is so close. If you want a comparison of just how fast Dennis Jordan is, I am a Academy race podium finisher, which I know isn't particularly impressive, but you know it's fairly good. And I've been up against Dennis Jordan in very similar cars in the young drivers test that we do every year at GPVWC and things like that. And in the young drivers test, the last couple of years, he's consistently been about 6 or 7, maybe even 8 seconds a lap faster than me. Yeah, not tenths of a second, but seconds, which really shows you how fast Dennis Jordan is, how good he is at setups, how easy it is for him to get used to the setups he designs. He's just very technical, very quick driver is Dennis Jordan. And I'm sure that Yanni Simoncic and Jumali Zapala will be much the same. So, 13 laps to go in this race now. We're on lap 40 of 43. Yanni Simoncic leads from Jumali Zapala, Dennis Jordan, Alan McGuire, Maciej Winnick, Harris Masculi, Dennis Bach, Tom Duval, and Ray Kilk. Top 10, that is. Sorry, Matthias Moose is P10. Is there a car getting a little bit defensive down the pit straight there? It almost looked like there was a back marker or something pulling over to the right hand side to let the leaders through, but then he didn't really let them through. But anyway, I think they're coming up to Lapham now, so we'll see what comes of this. Yannick Simonchich, race leader, driving arguably the best that you've seen anyone drive today. And ever since the pit stop stages, he's just been pulling away and away from his opponents. Nick Maguire briefly got ahead, but then had that penalty. And anyway, David Fido into the pits now as well, possibly dropping out the points. And he doesn't drop out of the points, so jolly good. Looks as if he's still on for 13th place at this rate. With two gears makers just behind him in P14. 14 drivers still on the lead lap of the race, 18 drivers remaining in the race. And we're approaching the final 10 laps. I do want to say actually, just quickly, after the race finishes, I am afraid that I don't want to stick around for interviews. Normally I would, but I am kind of struggling to keep my eyes open right now because I didn't sleep very well last night. But anyway, yeah, potentially that would be very handy if someone else could take that instead. But anyway, back to the race. Yannick Simonchich still leading, Zappala and Jordan still fighting over that second and third position. Adam Maguire up there with them. Maciej Munek not far behind either. See, it's still relatively close in those higher positions in the order, but it's just so difficult to overtake at this track, and difficult to follow as well when you're having spray kicked in your face. You know, you ideally want to be the car at the very front of the train, and that, you know, it takes away the advantage from the cars behind that they might have in the dry conditions or the drier conditions, especially since DRS isn't in effect in the wet. There's only one DRS zone on the circuit anyway, which is the start-finish straight. It's one of the only circuits that has only one DRS zone. But today I don't think that's going to matter at all. Look at Dennis Jordan. He's getting so close to Giovanni Zappala. He seemed to just be biding his time for a little while, but now he's really going for it. Now he's really launching the attack. And my timing screen has finally decided to work. Jolly good. Alessandro Quinte is actually on the fastest lap of anyone right now. That's interesting. Quinte really pushing. I wonder if he's... I think he's probably pitted twice because he's almost 2 laps down. And yeah, it just sets the first lap of anyone. So a really quick lap from Quinte there. Not sure why he's pushing so much, why he feels the need to, but I suppose to get into the points if he can. Seems a little too late for that. But yeah. We're looking at Stefan Rohr now. Has something happened to him? Not there. Maybe got a little twitchy out of the spoon curve, but anyway. 130, got through there okay. And don't know if anything actually did happen to Rohr there. Of course, he did have a spin earlier on with, it was turn 7, wasn't it? The Dunlop curve. Recovered from that okay. But anyway. Jordan and Zappala now separated by pretty much half a second. You don't get much closer than this. In fact, it was less than half a second in the last checkpoint. And now not so much. Okay. So, lap 44 of 53, we're almost at the end. Final 10 laps. And Simracing leads by 20 seconds, 20.2 over the battle between Zappala and Jordan, which did just get pretty close, but then extended out again slightly. Adam Maguire, 4th place, a little way behind, not too far still. Winnick, Masculi still fighting with Bock and Deval. They are all separated by less than a second, those three. And that could well change for a 6th position there, probably will. Masculi doing well for the Go Speed car in 6th. They'll be happy with that result if he can hold it, but it's going to be tough. Everyone in exactly the same tyre compound as well, which helps. We've also had, while I wasn't looking, a retirement for Federico Russo. That appears to have happened about 4 laps ago. So something happened to Federico, but anyway, he is out of the race in the Green Stripes car. And that leaves 17 cars in this race, with 14 of those on the lead lap and 15 of those still scoring points, as of course would happen. Yannick Bock we're looking at now, right in the midst of that scrap. Liam Duvall gets an okay run, surely not good enough, as Bock is still just there ahead of him, holding station in the distance. Into the S's they fly, still taking a lot of curb despite the conditions. The S's, very iconic sequence of corners, left, right, left. Each one of those longer than the previous one, and so much has happened in the S's over the years. It's seen so many cool cars, so much racing action. It's been there since the very first Grand Prix at this circuit, back in 1980 something, 87 I think. Up towards Spoon again, Aris Masculi. Bock appears to have dropped off the back potentially, just a little. He's lost a 1 second buffer, not that that matters so much. Liam Duvall now within half a second of him actually. Masculi flying through 130 up towards the Casio Triangle. Not entirely sure why it's called a triangle. I suppose it does have 3 points, but it's not hugely triangular. Even if you look at the run of error on the inside, it's not hugely triangular, but anyway. What's in a name? Yannick Bock here is hoping for more from today. He's going to be losing points to Maguire. Let me work that out actually. So if Maguire finishes 4th, which is where he is now, he will score 13 points. Bock is 7th, so that's 9 points. That's a 4-point difference. So the gap would be 16 points between them heading into the final 2 rounds, and that is only a 3rd place's worth. So that is fairly close, especially if Bock continues to have dodgy rounds like this. Bock was only 9th in Sochi actually, so maybe he's having a bit of a dip right now. But whatever the case, as someone runs wide in the background there, I think that may have been a back marker just getting out of the way. Yeah, it was the Green Stripes car of Lucchini, I think. Well, it must have been because Federico Russo is out of the race, and Marco Lucchini is the only Green Stripes car still running in this event. But anyway. Across where the DRS line would be, then the start-finish straight, into turn 1 again. Dennis Jordan, the Evolution Motorsports driver, and I just went to change camera view before remembering I'm not in the simulator. Never mind. Silly me. There's Jordan, the number 27 car. Of course, all these drivers, I think it's all the teams actually that get a choice of numbers, but they do consult with their drivers a lot of the time to do with like what numbers they would like to race with. There's Jordan. Still less than a second behind Germano Zappala. The fight for second place has been raging ever since the end of the pit stages, and just keeps going on and on. And Zappala will be hoping for the flag to come as soon as possible. Jordan will be hoping that Zappala makes a mistake before the checkered flag comes out. And anyway. Nick Maguire appears to have dropped back a little. Apparently he had a slight off in turn 1 at one point. Did I say Luke Maguire again? I meant Adam. My apologies to Adam. On a normal day I'd be remembering this, but anyway. This isn't about me. Zappala and Jordan, 0.8 of a second separate them. Also, Bock and Duval, 0.3 of a second separate them. That's a close one. And Duval on a charge. Has the momentum from last round carrying over from his first Super League victory, his maiden Grand Prix win. These cars not too dissimilar to the Super League Lights, which gives him a slight advantage. These cars are slightly less limited than the Super League Lights cars, and they also have more development points, so they actually get increasingly faster as the season goes along. But aside from that, you know, same chassis, same tires. Some of the same people, because people do tend to move up and down a little. But yeah, it's an advantage for Liam Duval that he at least knows the car to an extent. That's one of the reasons that he's doing so well in this. But Super League is a different kettle of fish to Super League Lights. It's much more competitive. No disrespect to the Super League Lights drivers, and that is why Duval is 8th rather than, you know, 1st and streaking away into the distance like we saw him doing all the time in Super League Lights. He won 10 races in a row, if you remember, so I'm not surprised that he was able to get a Super League proper victory this year. I saw it coming, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe next year he makes an attack for the overall championship. I think it's definitely doable for him. One of the quickest up-and-coming talents in GPVWC is Liam Duval. Only really began to be noticed properly in 2018, and now he's here, winning races and championships, and running 8th in a main Super League race, challenging the reigning champion Yannick Bock for P7 there. Up the hill again, Suzuka, a little bit of a hilly circuit. There's even a part on the Suzuka track where, in fact, it's where we've just been past there, where the track goes over itself. In effect, it's one of the only figure-of-8 circuits in the world. The only other one I can think of is outside of racing games, of course, is Highlands Motorsport Park in New Zealand. That's a figure-of-8, but yeah, aside from that, there really aren't that many at all. I remember Mario Circuit in Mario Kart DS used to be a figure-of-8, and there used to be some other races like that as well. But you know, in terms of like real-life circuits, Suzuka's pretty unique for that, and it means that the teams don't tend to set up their cars quite so skew-if as they normally do. often it's a little bit asymmetric, and you have a lot of camber on one side, not quite so much on the other, or something along those lines. In this race, that's just simply not the case, because they're going to be going left on average as much as they go right, and as a result, it does tend to equal itself out a little more than at some tracks. And despite the S's, tires tend to actually quite like this track, because it's a relatively high wear track, but they all go off at a similar rate, meaning you don't get one tire losing all its grip immediately and dragging all the others down with it or anything. Anyway, lap 51 and 53, we really are getting close to the end of the race now. The battles are still Zapala versus Jordan versus Maguire, so he's caught back up to them again. He is right on their tail. We're watching on board with Jordan now, heading up towards turn 1. Still too far back from Zapala. This has got to be so frustrating. Other fights going on. Bock versus Duval still, and that is about it. But this has got to be the most interesting, the one that's been going on for so long. Jordan Maguire. Sorry, Zapala, Jordan Maguire. Second, third, and fourth. Into the Degners again. Jordan really doesn't have that many more opportunities. Maguire has even fewer. So out through 230R again. I think it's called 230R. I really should check that. No, it's not 130R. It's the longer one heading up towards the spoon. Sorry, I should have been more specific to do with that. But anyway, now we're heading towards 130R again. Apparently, what I was just referring to there is known as 200R, I think. So, sorry for slight miscalculation. Of course, that's all to do with the angle that the corner is designed in. But anyway, penultimate lap of the race now. Really, not that long ago. Not long to go. Jordan may only have one more attempt at Zapala after this, which will be down into turn 1 on the final lap, Kimi Räikkönen style. Will he be able to do it? Well, I think if anyone can, it might well be Dennis Jordan. But can anyone? We shall see. Towards the Degners again. Clatters over the curb slightly. The car can really bunny hop through there sometimes. Another car gets out of the way for them, and they pass without too much trouble. Pretty much no time loss, which is always good to see. And that was Alessandro Quinte in the Go Speed racing car, I think. Out towards Spoon Curve. Sorry about that. Okay, it would have been Vincent Gutt then, in the Mad Cape. 130R, as Simoncic has started the final lap of the race, of this very, very wet, very tricky Japanese Grand Prix of Superleague. And for the last time, I would like to apologise for the slightly lackluster commentary today. It was a very last minute thing, and as a result, I didn't really sleep well enough or do any research or anything like that. So this isn't my finest performance, and I hope you will understand. But whatever, at least I've been able to save this podcast. We have had a race. Super League, always enjoyable to cover, and in wet conditions like these, I would hate for you all to miss it. But yeah, we are indeed on the final lap of the race, and Simoncic's lead is unassailable. It's 18.9 seconds, so it's come down slightly, but you know, it really doesn't matter at this stage. The fights that really do matter, you know, Zapala versus Jordan, Maguire. Winnick has caught up to Maguire as well. He's now less than a second behind them. And some further back as well. But yeah, getting very, very close for that second position. Might be too little too late. We've only really got this straight to go now. Yoni Simoncic comes out of the final corner, and in treacherous conditions at Suzuka, he wins, just as Damon Hill did in '94 in similar conditions. Germano Zapala is going to hold on to P2, and that will be his first GPVWC podium. Fantastic race from Germano Zapala. My driver of the day award will go to him. Then it's Jordan comes home in third. Then it's Adam Maguire, Maciej Winnick, Eros Masculi, then Yannick Buck, championship leader, having a slightly average day in P7. Liam Duval P8, and it's Riot Kilk, Matthias Moose, Giuseppe Ragusa, Stefan Ruhl, David Fidok, Lauren Kiersmakers, and Mirko Lucchini making up the other positions in the top 15. Alessandro Quinte was P16, Vincent Gutt will be P17, and the retirements, of course, for Federico Russo, Robin Panzer, Dan Brewer, Fabrizio Gobi, and Giuseppe Lino. Kind of still making it to the finish. Let's watch them come home. Just to make sure they do it cleanly and safely. Lauren Kiersmakers will be the last car across the line, I think, and runs a little wide. Actually, he can't be doing that too much, but anyway, manages to recover it, and he will finish in 15th position. So I am probably going to head off now because, as I said, I'm extremely tired, and I think I'm going to hand it over actually to Ian Herman. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Sorry? Owen. Okay, Owen Herman, who is going to take the interviews. But from me, Caitlin Penny, again, sorry about the slightly lackluster broadcast, but you know, I did the best I could do considering the circumstances. And, I hope you all understand. But anyway, that's that, and I will see you next time, I suppose.